My niece and nephews,
A little bit of
and two nieces and nephews bought an ATV and got at the house in the.
Good morning, Chair Postman, members Garrett and Vollendorf, staff and guests. The lobbies are open and the recording has begun.
Thanks, Gretchen. Good morning, everybody. We'll convene the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board meeting for September 25th, 2024. Our first item up is the consideration of a memorandum of agreement amendment with the Spokane Tribe of Indians, and Dr. Marla Conwell, our tribal and government liaison, will give us a quick briefing on that before we take a motion.
Good morning, Chairman, again, members of the board, everyone that's listening in the audience. I am happy to present the Spokane Memorandum of Agreement for their liquor sales on reservation. And this is an umbrella MOA that is a renewal. It began back in 2023, and we updated the dispute resolution as well as a number of other clauses as we've been doing with every compact and MOA as our agency has been mandated. So we got across the finish line, and I'm very excited to present it today to be hopefully approved.
I'm just not used to board members being here. I keep looking up at the screen. I guess if there were questions, I would hear them. Okay, no questions then. So we would take a motion to approve the amendment to the Spokane Tribes Memorandum of Agreement.
I move that we approve.
My second.
And then that's approved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice job. Good work. Okay, next we will get a rulemaking update, and Justin Nordhorn is stepping in today. He's our External Affairs Director.
All right, good morning, Chair Postman, members Garrett and Vollendorf. Today I have some updates before I get into the action item that's listed on the agenda. So we had previously scheduled, so I'm going to start off with an apology. We had previously scheduled or had planned to schedule a public hearing today for the sampling. With some illnesses, we got lost in the shuffle. We didn't get that on today's agenda. So we are going to have to delay that by 2 weeks, and we will reschedule that for October 9th. And we already have communicated to put that on the board schedule. So apologies for that. We've updated our website to reflect the updated dates, and we will extend the public comment period until October 9th as well.
And just the work's all done. It's good.
Yes, everything is done. We didn't get it on the agenda.
Yeah, ministerial.
I also wanted to give a couple other timeline updates. So for the social equity and cannabis program rulemaking, we had talked about having the CR 103 at one point in time coming out today, as well as the THC, the rulemaking. The social equity and cannabis, we are planning on doing a supplemental CR 102. So we had a lot of feedback based on the public hearing and during the formal public comment period. Coupled with the evaluations in the survey, there needed to be some considerable opportunities for considering all of that feedback. And so we are planning on presenting that in October. We're not sure if it'll be on the 9th or the 23rd yet. But we are planning on looking at a number of those issues that have been raised during the public hearing. And just to highlight a couple of those, one of those is around the rubric. Actually, there were several points within the rubric that we're looking at. Some of it was around some of the mobility issues. Some of it was around the title certificate holders, which relates to the petition today. So all of those are still all under consideration as we're moving forward. On the THC rulemaking, we are delaying that by 2 weeks. It was going to come before you for the CR 103 today. We identified an issue fairly late, so we pushed that back, and we're working with the code revisor to make sure that we do this correctly. The original timing was to have the to have the THC rulemaking conclude before the cannabis medical, not the excise tax, it was the medical endorsement rules. And they got flipped. And so since the medical endorsement rules completed first, both of them had 314-55-080 open. So the changes, we had a temporary change for the THC bill. We had the more robust change in the cannabis endorsement. And so if we were to move forward now with the CR 103, it would basically eliminate the previous rule set because it would revert back to the 080. So we need to make sure that that is removed from this particular 103 because it was addressed in the endorsement. And so we want to make sure that that's all corrected so we don't lose any of that. And so that will just be presented in 2 weeks to make sure that the code revisor has what they need, we have what we need, and that technical piece gets clarified. So moving into the action item for today, we have several requests that have come in around title certificate holders. And so I'm presenting a recommendation on the petition for rulemaking today. So as a way of background, from July 30th, 2024 through September 17th, 2024, we received 5 separate petitions for adoption, amendment, or repealing a state administrative code that were submitted to us requesting amendments to 314-55-570. All 5 petitioners requested that the removal of title certificate holders from the Social Equity and Cannabis Program. The multiple petitions specifically requested the repeal of 314-55-570 sub I, J, as well as sub 5. So just the 2 subsections within 314-55-570. And those allow the social equity title certificate holder to reinstate the retail license anywhere in the county that they hold their title certificate, as well as the definition of title certificate holder. Those petitioners included Peter Manning on July 30th of 2024, Mike Asai on July 30th, 2024, Elijah Henry on August 8th, 2024, Paul Bryce on August 18th, 2024, and Rick Lee on September 17th, 2024. In gross second substitute Senate Bill 5080, amended RCW 6950-335 to allow social equity applicants to locate their license in any city, town, or county that allows cannabis retail, cannabis producers, and cannabis processor business activities as applicable at the proposed locations. And that fell under RCW 6950-335 sub 1 EI. And 5080 also provided permissive language allowing title certificate holders to apply for a social equity license. And that's under 6950-335 2B. The petitioners expressed title certificate holders should not receive the same benefits as social equity applicants. So currently we have a rulemaking project open and active for the implementation of engrossed second substitute Senate Bill 5080 related to expanding and improving the social equity and cannabis program. The CR 101 was filed as WSR 2323-062 on November 8th, 2023. The CR 102 was filed as WSR 2416-130 on August 6th of 2024. A public hearing was conducted on September 11th, and as a result of the public comments gathered during the formal comment period and the public hearing, the LCB plans to develop a supplemental CR 102 to make additional changes to the previously presented draft rules. So the issue before us today is whether the LCB should initiate rulemaking to consider amending 314-55-570 to exclude the title certificate holders from the Social Equity and Cannabis Program. Well, many factors would typically come into the analysis in deciding whether to accept or deny a petition. The LCB is currently engaged in rulemaking that is open for these direct regulations. As such, the LCB is currently engaging in rulemaking for 314-55-570 to implement that Senate bill. And there's no need or benefit to accepting the 5 petitions as considerations are already active and ongoing for the same topic. So for the reasons of the active open rule project, the Director's Office staff is recommending, consistent with RCW 3405-3301B, the board deny the 5 petitions for adoption, repeal, and or amendment of the rules submitted from July 30th, 2024 through September 17th, 2024, requesting the exclusion of social equity title certificate holders from the Social Equity and Cannabis Program. And I would like to also comment again that these are still under consideration in our supplemental CR 102. So a denial of these petitions just means we're not reopening a rulemaking that's already open, but we are actively discussing these particular issues. So with that, I ask the board to consider the denial of the 5 petitions.
Thanks. Yeah, what you said at the very end, I think is important. I just want to stress it. So it's not just that we have the rules open, but we're talking about this very subject.
Right.
And I think it's fair to say there's some interest on the board to addressing
Correct.
that issue. And so we will be proceeding as if they were there anyhow, but because we haven't stated publicly what the end result will be, we're going to do it through the regular rulemaking.
Correct.
Okay, I think that's great. Okay, is there a motion to accept the staff recommendation on the petitions related to certificate holders, to decline the petitions?
Yeah, this is Jim. I recommend that I make a motion that we deny the petition as recommended by staff.
And this is Ally, I second.
Then that's approved. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Our next action item will be presented by Policy and Rules Coordinator Daniel Jacobs related to cannabis payment flexibility. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Postman, members Garrett and Vollendroff. This morning, I'm here to request approval of the final rules, or CR 103, on cannabis payment flexibility. And if approved, the final rules will be filed today and effective October 26th. This project is amending WAC 314.55.115 on what methods cannabis licensees can use to purchase cannabis from other licensees, and it is the result of a petition that the board accepted in March 2023. The CR 101 was filed on May 8th, 2024, and a survey with draft rule language was posted on the LCB website from June 3rd through July 8th of 2024, as well as emailed out via Gov Delivery. The survey results indicate that the licensees who responded are generally supportive of the proposed rule changes. The CR 102 was filed on July 31st, and the public hearing was held September 11th. WAC 314.55.
Excuse me, I want to change my name, the last one to speak. The last one to speak. I told him I want to speak the last one. He forced me to speak the first one. It's not fair.
Talk to Peter.
I just want to speak the last one.
It doesn't matter to us.
Okay, I want to speak the last one.
I'm sorry, Daniel, go ahead.
He's being very rude with me. I don't even.
You can't
And he told me
interrupt us,
shut up.
Mr. Sod.
It's not the way. it
No,
should
no,
be.
no, just, he's not saying
Tell
so.
him to be
You can't
respectful.
talk during the meeting. You'll have your opportunity soon.
Thank you.
We're going to get right there.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Mr. Jacobs.
Washington Administrative Code 314.55.115 identifies check, prepaid accounts, debit or credit card, electronic funds transfer, and using a money transmitter as methods that licensees can use to purchase cannabis from other licensees. The final rule changes clarify that, just as with the other payment methods, there has to be a purchase order being done by an irrevocable invoice. Both parties have to keep records consistent with other LCB requirements, including relevant proof of mailing, and the check has to be mailed no later than the next business day following cannabis delivery, and it has to be deposited no more than 5 business days post-cannabis delivery. We only received one comment on the CR 101, asking about issues related to insufficient fund or NSF checks. WAC 314.55.115 already addresses NSF payments in Section 6, where it says that NSF issues have to be corrected by 3 p.m. on the following business day after the NSF issue is reported. Otherwise, it becomes an impermissible extension of credit. Additionally, impermissible extensions of credit are subject to penalties per Washington Administrative Code 314.55.523. Prior to and during the public hearing, we received one comment and testimony on behalf of WACA, which requested in their written comments to remove the deposit deadline. Removing the deposit deadline would be inconsistent with the other payment methods identified in WAC 314.55.115, all of which have a defined endpoint. And in rulemaking, we generally don't want to create internal inconsistency in our rules. Additionally, as part of this rulemaking, we strove to make it so that paying via check was on the same sort of level as the other payment methods. We worked really hard to not create a situation where paying via check might be more favorable than another method or less favorable than another method. The petition argued that the current lack of explanation about using a check made paying via check less favorable. And so the sort of driving force behind this rulemaking was to clarify the conditions for paying via check. We've clarified that keeping records of financial transactions includes proof of mailing when mailing checks, although we haven't specified what that proof needs to be. If it's use of certified mailing, that's fine, but it doesn't have to be that. While proof of mailing isn't explicitly required for the other payment methods, that's because typically mailing isn't used with the other payment methods. Following yesterday's caucus, WACA clarified that from their perspective, the burden of timeliness should be entirely on the party mailing the check and not on the party waiting to receive the check, as from their perspective, the party waiting to receive the check doesn't have any control of how long the mail takes. To clarify, the rule language already puts a burden of timeliness on the party mailing the check, but again, we also have to have a deadline that the check needs to be deposited by. Lastly, we're going to be conducting a retrospective review in October 2025 to examine corrective actions that arise from this rule change, and we will examine the results of that review during a board caucus to determine whether these rule changes result in an increase in corrective actions. We believe this retrospective review should address the concerns raised by WACA. And should the review demonstrate that, in fact, this rule change has resulted in an increase in corrective actions, then at that time, I'm sure we'll be more than happy to reopen this rule and address it at that time. Based on this, I'm hereby requesting approval of the CR 103 on cannabis payment flexibility. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Is there a motion to adopt the CR 103 for cannabis payment flexibility?
I move that we adopt.
Jim, I second.
Great. Approved. Nice common sense change there. Thanks for your work on it, Mr. Jacobs.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to stand to use for half a second. We'll come back to order. We're to the point of our meeting for general public comment. Everyone who's signed up will have up to 3 minutes to speak. We ask that people limit their comments to LCB business as much as possible. And of course, refrain from any personal attacks or going too far off topic. I'll mention if speakers wander too far. Ask everyone to be respectful to the speakers and everyone else who's present, whether virtually or in person here in the room. No disruptions to the meeting or making public comments. If we have disruptions, we'll pause public comment until we can come back to order. Please remember that, like all our meetings, this is being recorded. It'll be available online later today. And for those in the room with us here today, just our regular reminder that the microphones that are in the ceiling are very sensitive and will pick up any side conversations, rustling papers, and things like that. So once we start hearing from speakers, please just try to be as attentive as you can in here. And if you have to do anything else, talk on your phone, or we ask you to step out to the lobby. Those that have joined us online, again, as usual, just I'll call your name and then just give us a few seconds for staff to find you in the queue. And we'll do that, and then we'll make sure that everybody is able to be seen and heard. When you are talking, we will step in at 2 minutes and 30 seconds to tell you you have 30 seconds left in your 3 minute. And then we ask you to really wrap up at 3 minutes. Just finish that sentence if you can. So With that, we'll start, as we always do, with those that are signed up online. And the first person signed up is Mira Zayada.
Hello,
Morning.
good morning. Um, I wanted to speak today to address specifically the decision that the LCB made to hire Kim Potter for a training. I want to thank the board members for taking quick action to cancel that and recognize, the harm that could put on the Black and Brown community. I just want to kind of explain my thoughts. So I first heard about it when the great gentleman from Black Excellence in Cannabis had sent me the article about the decision. And I remember asking, like, do you think they knew? I wanted to kind of understand how this decision came to be. And I just want to thank you guys for holding that board caucus on the 17th, because that really opened my eyes to what's going on at the top. I think that Miss Wax was very kind of dismissive and not understanding the seriousness of the situation of what had happened. I believe that and I watched it 4 times. I rewinded once, I put the captions on, make sure I heard her correctly. And then I listened to it again. I paused it because I wanted to make sure that what I heard her response to board member Garrett was when you asked the rightful question, right? That we're all thinking. You had no thought that this would be controversial. There was no thought that like this could be a problem. And her direct quote, besides the flippant remark about someone saying it to the Seattle Times, was, "I do not believe this is a case of missed opportunity for us to analyze that decision prior to having it brought to our attention by the Seattle Times. And I haven't seen any evidence or conversation about that being the case." I think that direct quote right there tells me everything I need to know about the mindset and the culture in the Enforcement Education Division of the LCB. I think that we should find the person that reported it to the Seattle Times. I think we should give them an award. I think they preemptively saved lives of hundreds of Black and brown liquor and cannabis license holders. And that's another question. These people enforce tax codes, they enforce laws, they give fines. They're not out there solving violent crimes. They're not out there breaking up robberies or saving people's lives. That they're giving fines.
Mary, you have
These-
30 seconds left.
Okay, so I think that we should find that guy. We should give him an award. We should give him a promotion so he could have Chandra Wax's job, and Chandra Wax should resign immediately. And I think that if we ignore that or don't do anything like that, then we're validating that attitude and that culture in the enforcement agency. And I'm very, very upset.
Right. Thank you for your comments. Yes, sister. Next person signed up is Brooke Davies.
Hi, good morning, Chair Postman,
morning.
board members Garrett and Bollendroff. My name's Brooke Davies. I'm here today on behalf of the Washington Cannabis Business Association. Just wanted to further clarify our concerns with the flexible payment terms, CO 103, that was just adopted. And I do appreciate Daniel updating his comments to better reflect what our concerns were. I think you all understand those. WACA is very supportive of the deadline to mail the check one day after the delivery. We also understand and support the need to close the transaction as soon as possible and within 5 days. Our concern is solely based on placing the burden on the person receiving the check to have to deposit that check within 5 days, because there are circumstances that could be out of their control. And as you know, we've advocated for a long time about, consistent enforcement, making sure that the rules are very clear and we all understand, so that we don't end up in situations where they are enforced inconsistently. And so even if somebody put a check in the mail one day after the delivery, there are a number of things that could happen out of the licensee that is receiving that check's control. The mail could be lost. It could be delivered to the wrong address. It could be addressed wrong. A number of things could happen that make it so that the person on the receiving end is not able to deposit it within 5 days. So those are our concerns. I think it could have been addressed in rule language. Director Nordhorn and I had talked about possible solutions, maybe creating a system where the person receiving the check would report if they haven't received it within 5 days, just to make sure that they're still trying to close that transaction as soon as possible. So I hope that in the annual review, this can be something that is looked at specifically, because again, we want transactions to be closed as soon as possible. Absolutely support, the limited terms of mailing it one day after. It's just really making sure that somebody that's just sitting there by the mail waiting for a check is not at risk of receiving some sort of violation for something out of their control. So I appreciate the board's consideration, and we'll continue to work with staff to hope that, we can review this in a year and make sure that that is not happening. Thank you.
Great, thank you for your comments. Next person is Egbert Manning.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Ahmed Manning. I want to say thank you first for allowing me to share my opportunity with the LCB. I applied for a license in 2015 and I was declined. And I recently just found out that white people that had no qualification got approved and got licensed and operating businesses. I also experienced with the LCB that a lot of Black businesses in my area, South Seattle area, got shut down, raided and shut down. We were one of those businesses. Just to find out, white business owners are operating businesses in the areas that we had licensed that we got shut down for. I think the LCB is very racist organization. People is here to help white people. And I think that things need to be changed. Rules need to be changed to fit everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Caitlin Ryan.
Good morning. My name is Caitlin Ryan. I'm the Executive Director for the Cannabis Alliance, and I'm here this morning to address two issues. First, I'm here to request some check-in data on the medical cannabis tax exemption. We know that we had an information session with regulated substances and gaming pretty recently, and we were hoping that we might be able to get some very specific data on how the rollout and the impact of the rollout has gone out there. We would love to see the aggregate percentage of sales receiving the exemption, number of stores in the top 15% of those sales receiving the exemption. Of those top 15% of stores, what percentage of their sales represent the exemptions, number of stores participating, and what we're seeing in an increase in patient registrations. We understand that this is going to have to be done in relationship with the Department of Health, but I think it will help as we're sort of keeping track of this as it evolves. We're also, just I know, just sort of curious about any enforcement actions or challenges with the online authorizations, if there have been any, and how those are going. I'm also here this morning to address the hiring of Kim Potter. I believe there is understanding from the board that this decision was harmful to the community and that it has contributed to a further erosion of trust in the LCB. I'm going to sort of echo the sentiment that the caucus discussion yesterday felt a little bit unsatisfying. And I'm here to call for ongoing transparency in your investigation. Not just in how this happened in the first place, but the need for transparency also in accountability as you move forward. Accountability, not just internally, but accountability also externally with the partners that LCB works with, particularly if there was sort of unclear information that contributed to this decision. And then I think most importantly, the part that really is going to be critical here is transparency and repair. So clarity in and open discussion of how the LCB is working to ensure this type of thing can't happen again. And frankly, openly owning the action and working to create full systems to prevent something like this happening in the future is going to be a really important part of the repair following this injury to the community around you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Sakani Perkins. Sakani Perkins, you should be able to go ahead and unmute. You got to just unmute at your end. You're unmuted at our end, but I don't know where that button is, but somewhere there's a microphone and it's got a line through it now.
Okay, we should be
Oh,
good
there you
now.
go.
Okay, good morning. WLCB. My name is Sakani Asu Perkins, owner of the Gas Station LLC and co-founder of BPIC, Black Pioneers in Cannabis. Firstly, I'd like to commend my fellow social equity and cannabis cohorts for being steadfast in the battle for inclusion and inequalities. However, the recent issue with Kim Potter has only been the tip of the iceberg. I'd like to share a little bit of pertinent information with the board. Let me all know if you can hear this clearly.
Who stated that he was asked to go to a meeting. A friend of his, who I have independently verified, this person wants me to keep their identity
Confidential.
Private because they are actually afraid.
I understand.
So
I understand.
I'm not even going to say what their gender is. So I'm going to use the gender neutral they.
Okay.
So this friend of John's was thinking of getting into the business and had been invited to a meeting with a number of people and didn't want to go alone and asked John to accompany them. So they're in this meeting, and Christopher Hurst at the time was the chair of, I believe it was actually the Gaming and Oversight Committee. He, with the House of Representatives, the State House of Representatives, Washington State. But the Gaming and Oversight Committee had been charged at that point with the cannabis situation. And Christopher Hurst in this meeting, and he even, you know, it was fascinating.
Yeah, that just shut down.
When you can tell
Sakani, you froze.
Not by the details they give.
One more.
And he was giving details
The
like
volume, I can't hear well. I have a bad ear. Thank you.
Can you hear me, hello?
We can hear
you
you.
have
We're
30
having a little
seconds
bit of a
left.
hard time hearing the tape in the room here.
Okay.
No, I can't hear him.
Yeah.
I can hear the tape, but
And some are having a hard time hearing you.
I hear
too.
the
So
tape,
when you
but
come,
just
if you
the
can
hearing's
speak
too
up a
low.
little bit, and we'll try to turn the volume up at this end if we can.
Well,
because, you know, black market
I wish if he get a chance, technical issue from you guys.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean illegal, underground, etc. But considering what this story is, I find sort of the double entendre to be really interesting. So he, you know, he said we have a 10-year plan to get the black market out of cannabis. We're going to over-regulate the hell out of them. run them like hamsters on a wheel until they go broke, and then bring in one or two large corporations like Merck to take over the whole industry.
Mr. Perkins,
Yeah,
you're gonna,
yeah,
you
that's
just got
all.
a little bit of time left, so if you could summarize that.
Okay, that was basically it. I'll send it to the pertinent people that
Great.
that need that. Was that my time?
You got 20 seconds left if you'd like to wrap up.
Okay, basically, yeah, I'll send it to the folks that that need that recording. It's over an hour long, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have it, Mr. Perkins. I'll forward it as well. That's the continental on the interview.
Thanks.
Or what that is.
Okay.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Perkins.
All right, appreciate it.
The next person signed up is Sakai Perkins.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yep, you bet.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Sakai Perkins, co-founder of Black Pioneers in Cannabis and a current social equity applicant lottery winner for my store, Green Wall Street LLC in Whatcom County. First of all, I want to address the sentiments my colleagues and members share about a current, I guess you want to say, elected or selected position held by Kim Potter. We were extremely disappointed with the position she was appointed by Sandra Wax. Myself and other members found that to be almost a slap in the face, given the fact that the obviously insensitivity that that our communities have been targeted by a war on drugs and systematic, genocide or racism or what have you. To have somebody to point or allocate funding for us, that's almost like blatantly disrespect. I believe that to combat that, we should start a protocol where we implement a task force or oversight committee for social equity for and by social equity applicants. We should have our own opportunity to vote who we want in and who we decide who we will allow to at least have trial and error on our behalf. We tried it already with launch. We were disappointed with launch. We were half and half with I'm sorry, with FMSG. That's
Sakai, you have 30 seconds.
all of Sardinus. We were half of us were we were pleased with her. I know that Black Pioneers in Cannabis were happy with her. As far as the other organizations, not so happy. But I just want to leave with this analogy. How would you feel if somebody that's a professional athlete does not teach another player as opposed to analyst?
Sakai, that's your time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next person signed up is Paul Bryce.
Chair, this is Dustin. Paul is having some technical issues.
Okay.
I'm working with him right now.
So he's not on.
Not yet.
Let's go to the next one, then we'll come back. David Rose. Hey, David Rose, you should be able to go ahead.
Okay. I kind of want to address the Kim Porter situation. Um, you- I just want to touch on something because I think it's so important that, we go to the root of things because I think in the meetings, we always touch the surface of the situation. And I think Miss Porter, she got away with something. And I just want to let her know, I wish she could hear this. I'll let the Lord speak for this one on Acts 13:1. There were in the church of Antioch certain prophets and teachers as Simeon and Barnabas that were called nigger. So Miss Porter, she thought she just killed an average black man, but she didn't know she killed a Hebrew Israelite. That's a problem. And I think here in these meetings that we have, we're treated that way, like with the N word. And I think the lack of respect that I've seen for the counselor to even hire her is really appalling. And also, you know, I agree with what Sakai said. We need an oversight on the board because you guys don't represent us in the way that we need to be represented. And I second the motion that, that we need to have someone like Paula up there, you know, to kind of balance this somewhat, because the oversight, this 1492, it looks the same. We get people up there who pretend to represent us, but they don't represent us. And at this speed that we're going, nothing's changing. I mean, can you imagine if we hire somebody who killed one of you guys like that? If she killed a Jewish person, would you hire her, Portsman David? It's disgusting, man. I hope you guys know how disgusting this is. That's all I have to say today.
Go back to Paul Bryce. Is he able to join? We can come back after we do people in the room if you're still having issues there.
Not yet, Chair.
Okay, so Mr. Bryce, if you're able to hear us, please, we will come back to you. Let me just make that note so I don't forget. We will check with you. Okay, we're going to move to the list of people who have signed up in the room. When I call your name, you'll be able to come up to the podium and have your 3 minutes. Again, at 2.5, we'll let you know that the time is just about up and then ask you to follow along with most of the speakers say finish right on time. So please do that, and please continue to be respectful of each other in the room when they're talking, because if you're listening online, it's sometimes hard to hear. First person we have signed up in the room is Daniel Brown.
Hello, my name is Daniel Brown. I'm the general manager of Paper and Leaf Retail Cannabis on Bainbridge Island. I did not get the memo that we weren't speaking about the sample policy today. So I'm here. I'm hoping to speak about that for a minute.
Clearly, we'll put that on the record, yeah.
I just wanted to urge you guys to reconsider the rule changes. Quarterly tracking is a little difficult for all the point of sale systems that I've spoke with. No one really has that set up. It would be on the store themselves, and I don't think they do that very well. Also, getting rid of the designation for a buyer to have more than a normal employee. I carry 85 brands in my shop. If I can only get 60 samples a year, I can't even try one sample per vendor that I carry. It's dangerously low, and it's going to encourage parking lot samples. And I know that is not what you guys want. So I don't know what the solution is, but I strongly urge you to reconsider or open that conversation up again. I like that you're thinking of the bud tenders and getting them a full-size unit so producer processors don't have to make a custom unit. I think that's all great. It's really just hindering the buyer to do their job. I think it's it's dangerous and it could open up exactly what you don't want. Those are my comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry for the confusion on the scheduling, but we'll make sure your comments are in that file.
Do we know that'll be in 2 weeks?
Yeah, and Justin can, if you connect with him, give him his card. Yeah. Christopher King.
Great morning. Before we get to Kim Potter, the manslaughterer of Dante Wright, who was hired by the underlings of this board, okay? With no checks and balances by the board, mind you. Before we get to that, we're gonna talk about what Sakani Perkins was talking about. That's my co-producer, Ann Continelli, was discussing the discussion that was had where it was made clear the 10-year plan was to bring everybody out from underneath the black market, regulate the heck out of them, and then basically, strangle them and then pass it off to big pharma like Merck. Who's with Merck? Vicki Christopherson. Isn't that something? Okay? Yeah. That was in our lawsuit with John Novak and me when we sued a long time ago. It's gonna come out. Trust me, I'll be shooting. It's gonna come out. So that was true, and that's what's been going on. But let's return back now to this and Chair Postman's continued abuse of my First Amendment rights and privileges. Okay? And not just mine, but other black and brown. Whenever we criticize someone at this agency, when we ask a question, Mr. Postman won't answer our questions, but when we criticize someone at the agency for doing things that we know were manifestly illegal and racist, he waits till after we're done talking and then browbeats us later in the comments by saying, how dare we criticize these hardworking staff who are so thoughtful and working so hard for social equity and all this and all that. Well, Chair Postman, was this your staff that are hardworking for equity? Were these the same staff that hired Kim Potter? I'm wondering. So there's a public records request pending, and I don't want it to take like a year, like it always does with you guys, to get any documents. You understand me? I'm tired of that. And I'm tired of you following in behind us and criticizing us when we're right. There were no safeguards here. And on TV, you got up and you said, oh, it was, how could you not see this wasn't a good choice? It was worse than that. It's a vile choice. I work with law enforcement all the time. That's law enforcement attorney. I could have got a number of different cops to talk and help lead this seminar besides this shit. Ridiculous. Now, I'm going to ask you, don't you look at me funny like that? I'm presenting this right now. I'll throw my flyer down if I want to. I'm presenting in this crowd. I have not threatened anybody. Okay? No, I haven't. I haven't raised my voice either. So let me finish, okay? Now, this thing did not happen in a vacuum. You had 3 strikes. First, I-502, strike.
Christopher, you have 30 seconds.
Swing and a miss. Then you had 2870, swing and a miss. And now you've got Kim Potter. Okay, 3 strikes and you're out, guys. The board needs to be removed. We need people from the community on this board. We need a voice of responsibility on this board and accountability, because you heard a number of people, even white people, just tell you there is no such thing here. And when I'm finished this time, I'm going to take my dramatic pause, and I hope that you reflect on things instead of criticizing me again, Mr. Postman. I don't need to hear from you
Christopher,
today.
that's your
I'm here to
time.
talk.
Little confusion on our sign up sheet here. I don't know if you guys want to settle it. I got.
Mr. Postman, who's next?
You or Mike could go next, and
Okay.
Sammy would like to go to the end if that's okay with you. He signed up at the end of the list.
I'm not.
Thank you.
I'm not feeling good. That's
Appreciate
fine.
it. No, that's fine.
Get better.
Mr. Manning took care of it. Thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Chair Postman, Board Member Valendroff, and Board Member Ollie Garrett. I'd like to start off by saying, a wise man once said, you'll know a tree by the fruit it bears. Meaning, if a tree bears bad fruit, it's a bad tree. This agency has always bear bad fruit when it pertains to Black and brown. Ollie Garrett, Willa Keller, you're a symbolism without substance. I'll explain this further. I am president of Black Excellence Cannabis. I have 4 executive members under me. If there's an email or proposal, they run it by me first. Nothing gets done without my approval. As an organization, that is how we do it. So for Sarah Wax to make a decision to hire Kim Porter that unjustly killed a Black man by the name of Dante Wright, a young man, was highly insensitive to the Black and brown community, more so the Black community. What possibly could she teach the LCB about dealing with Black people, other than the thing that LCB is prone to deal with Black people in a certain kind of way? Suspicious, unfair, and racist. This was all an insult to our leadership. This was an insult to our leadership at Black Excellence Cannabis. This should be an insult to the leadership of the Black leadership of the LCB. That is white supremacy speaking that snubbed their nose at Willa Keller and Ollie Garrett. Not to go to them to ask them how their community would feel. And Sarah Wax works for you guys. She didn't even think your Black authority was enough to question her white supremacy authority. That's why she hired Kim Porter. That smirk that she had on her face when you guys were questioning her, that's a smirk of a white racist.
There was. Yes, you're right. And they're all over the yeah.
Ollie, that's what I mean by being symbolism without substance. I would never let anyone speak ill of Black people when it comes to cannabis in Washington. I haven't since 2010. I haven't since 2014. I haven't since 2016. And
Peter, you have
pushing
30
it in
seconds.
2025 with the same. I am not going to give up, go away until this thing is made right. I've been in this fight since 2010, 2011 about Black inclusion in this cannabis industry. And the racist policies of the LCB have always been there in my hairs, my crosshairs. We need to make this right. And are we going to get an apology from the LCB? You apologize to the gays, you apologize to the natives. Where's our apology?
Peter, that's your time.
Yeah. We don't get those. Well said, brother.
Mike,
we don't get those.
Before my time starts, I just want to say I'm here. My cousin in Dallas, Ronnie, I love you. He had a stroke, and my heart is real heavy. Still with my mom recovering. I said, before my time starts, please.
Yep. We can restart, Mike, please.
Good morning. You know who I am. My name is Mike Asai with Black Excellence Cannabis. I'm a pioneer with Emerald City Collective, unjustly shut down by the city of Seattle and the LCB's help. Brothers and sisters, please listen to me. First, let's lift up the Wright family in our hearts. Dante Wright, his life was stolen by a system that has never valued Black lives. Black Excellence Cannabis stands firmly with his family. We will not forget Dante. We will not allow his murder to be swept under the rug. Now let's get right to this. The Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board has shown us once again that it is not an ally to our community. They've hired Kim Porter, a convicted murderer who killed a young man, unarmed Black man, 20 years old. And for what? To further disrespect us, to remind us that this system doesn't give a damn about Black life. We're calling it out. We're calling her out. Sandra Wax, Chief Enforcement Officer, is a liar, a coward, and a racist. She's no friend of justice, no friend of Black excellence in cannabis. We've tried time and time again to engage her in dialogue, hoping for good faith. But what did we get in 2022? Canceled meetings, dodged conversations. She ran from us like a coward because she didn't want to face the truth. And now the truth is out. She had the audacity to claim she didn't know who Kim Porter was. Well, we're not buying it. That lie is part of the playbook. Protecting white supremacy, one falsehood at a time. This is how the system works. Whites protecting whites. Always at the expense of Black and brown lives. This is the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board. This is how they operate. We demand Sandra Wax's immediate firing. We demand the removal of anyone upholding this corrupt racist system. September 17th exposed the truth. Her smirk and dismissive attitude during the board caucus speaks volumes. You can't hide behind lies anymore. This agency is built on racism since the 1930s. It has used its power to block black and brown communities from wealth, and that should be ours.
Mike, you have 30 seconds.
This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't ignorance. It was calculated move to lock us out. Make no mistake about it. The LCB is a police department in disguise. They may not kill us with bullets, but they kill us with policies. They kill us by denying us access to wealth. They kill our future. They are killing black and brown generational wealth every single day, and we will no longer pretend like we don't see it. We
Mike,
see
that's your
it,
time.
we feel it, and we're going to fight it. I got 2 more paragraphs. Please let me finish. And to Director Lucella, let me speak directly to you. You can keep protecting these people, but know this, they will never protect or respect you. You're just a tool to them. They are Garza lights. We have offered solutions time and time again. Black Access to Cannabis has brought answers to this board's doorstep, and they've ignored us at every turn. That's fine. We're not here to ask anymore. We're here to demand. We're here to speak truth to power, to dismantle the system of racism, and we would not be silenced until we see justice. And to Ali, myself and many other black and brown pioneers did not obtain a license in 2016, 2015, 2016 because of the color of our skin. To date, we have 0 black-owned retail stores in Dr. King Jr. County.
Sir,
thank you to the person who called the Seattle Times. Any more whistleblowers, come contact Black Access to Cannabis.
Come see us.
Okay, I think Paul Bryce, we should be able to go ahead. Let's.
Sammy's gonna speak.
You said you wanted to speak last.
No, I said the last one to speak. This is not fair.
You're not the last. I'm saying we have one more to speak. I thought you wanted to go last, right? You want to go
Online,
last?
I don't care about the online.
Well,
Just don't-
come on, man.
I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. You can go ahead. It's my fault. My fault.
I mean,
I thought because he been rude to me.
no one's being rude to
I'm
you.
the one saying,
Sammy,
I'm
why are you
sorry.
always the
What
victim,
happened
man?
to you when you
Sammy,
broke
just
your hand?
chill, dude.
Sorry about that. I'll wait for you. That's fine.
It's not me, it's
I
Paul
thought you were
Bryce.
try-
Mr. Bryce has been waiting to talk and he had technical problems. So now we will try to go to
I
Mr.
will
Bryce.
wait for the last one so I can speak.
And then you can be the last one.
My son is being killed. I'm fighting for this.
Okay, Mr. Bryce, you should be able to go ahead.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, good morning.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Hi, Paul Bryce, retailer, Happy Trees. Yeah, I've been having technical difficulties. I just now was able to log on maybe 5-10 minutes ago. Missed most of the meeting, and then I'm out here in Prosser. Wanted to say, long time been inside with the LCB as a retailer, and I am the most fined, attacked pot shop in the state of Washington, and it's no doubt because of the color of my skin. You all know who I am. I've been a pioneer this decade in the News Tribune or the magazines, the pioneer in the industry the decade before. You guys chased me in the medical days when I was at T-Town Alternative Medicine, Tacoma. There's no way you guys don't know who I am. You guys know exactly who I am, and there's a reason, why I was attacked so much. Being a part of this program or being in this program, and a lot of the reason why I'm even here is because I don't want to see what happened to me to any other black or brown person in this industry. I could spend the next, I don't know how many board meetings only having 3 minutes to go over each frivolous incident you guys tried to charge me to just try to run me out of this industry. And I just want to make sure that this does not happen to the rest of the black or brown. Not very prepared. I'm out in Prosser, 4 hours away from where I live, from Tacoma. Just opened Happy Trees. I have the planning department that was just in here as well. But one of the things I want to say, all these storefronts, for the social equity, we're trying to make these successful. Not enough money was given. This is like the inside of
of the store. You know, you got to have a nice store, and you got to actually try to have some success to have these stores going. You know, you guys do not want to see black or brown inclusion. You guys say it when you guys feel it sounds good to make it like that's what we're doing. But then we see again behind your guys' intent to just have none of that intention. Matter of fact, all you're trying to figure out is how to take what was written through legislation and pretend that you guys are pioneers and did not know how this is going to how it would affect to make decisions. You guys are going to just water down this social equity program and award the ones that this was not intended to help. Like that's 100% absolutely what you guys have been doing. And for 5 years, it's always been LCB's practice of through the whole social equity program that we're not answering no questions here. We're just here to
that's
listen.
your time.
Well, that time, listen with answer this day for all stuff you guys done. Thank you.
Thank you. Sammy Saad.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I apologize for the misunderstanding. A lot of people, they don't know who I am. I'm here online. If you put 12 Green LLC, you show you fighting for civil rights for 19 years. I represent 65,000 Washingtonians. I own the first medical cannabis in Washington State since 2009, 2010. We met with the social equity groups, and that's why here in King 5 News, they have me there and as named.
Supposedly in this state, it's not showing.
Right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and we'll just get started.
The BIPOC community immediately fought back, demanding answers and
Community fight back is Sami Saad. Is right there. I want to show it to you in person. And the person after me speaking is Ellie Garrett. No disrespect for Miss Ellie Garrett, but Miss Ellie Garrett, you promised me you will help. You didn't help. We went to the LCB. Peter said the right thing. This is not for us, the HB 2070. And we oppose it. I make it fail. It was 13 license because of me and Peter. It became more than one license. And we came here. Sami Saad is out. I get through the social equity license, but not through the 12 Green. If I don't fall in a category, all those categories, convicted, felon, all of that, I will never get it. I didn't get it because I had a shop since 2019. Much respect for you. Much respect for you. I'm from Sudan originally. We have a war in Sudan. They told us the president is not our president. And the fight is fight between two generals. My son is being killed there. I don't want to have my son here. I'm not against anyone, but I don't like the toxic thing like what happened to Elon Musk to happen to my son. That's my decision. I'm Muslim. They call me the LCB. They say, Mr. Abdullah, you need to withdraw your application. That it happened after 2016. You're not going to get no license. Mr. Abdullah is still having a hard time. And now they want to take our license. We have 8 licenses in Washington, in Seattle. I'm the Seattle winner, highest point. Now you guys want to bring certificate holder to take our license from Seattle to force us out. They have many store now is being leased. This is not about far away from a school 1,000 feet. This is about the telegram. If you look at it, a certain program, you will never get no store. We cannot find a store in the whole Seattle. He cannot, Peter cannot, I cannot, Micah Sai. I'm coming here today to unite all of us together. I love you, Mr. Ellie Garrett, but you hurt me. You hurt my son. And the last speak, you say here in King 5 News, please allow me because the community need to know. This is about black people don't have. In my own country, they told us the president is not the president. And that's not fair. Because the gold, I own a gold mining company. I'll show you. I'm a millionaire. If you believe me or not.
Sammy, you have 30 seconds.
Tribe in Sudan. I'm not the best one. I am American too. African American, they related to Sudan. Sudan is mean black. When I said I'm from that region, I'm not separating myself. I'm a newcomer. But at the same time, I'm a victim of this. My son is being killed. My father's being killed. My mom, she's somewhere else. Her back is broken. We have a war over there of a Democrat. Do not vote for Kamala Harris because they're using you. She's using us too, Ellie Garrett. Before that, I heard from people, they told us.
Sammy, that's your time.
She said, if you give her daughter a license, a certain percentage, she will help Kevin Shelton. This is not fair. We need those pioneers to split no rubric. 25 to 26 license for the pioneer. The other 26 license, I still have 15 seconds. 26 license for the other people. If you don't give the pioneer, it's not fair. We need to get our license. Second thing is, he being very disrespectful. The two people sitting at the table there, he been
Mr. Saad,
disrespecting me
we've
and I
been
respect him.
really
And I told him
flexible to
before
give you
that,
what you want.
I'm sorry what happened to you, broken your hand. Now
Your-
being disrespectful.
Your time is up.
This is not right. It's not
Thank
fair.
you.
Pioneer, they
Time's
need
up.
to get the license.
You're
Alligator
adjourned.
do not represent black people. I represent today, African-American community and, Sudanese American Justice, Association. It's all online and everybody. I represent 65,000 Washingtonians. And I'm putting my voice with Peter to support